It's not uncommon for coaches nowadays to take a few transfers with them from their previous school to their new one. We're seeing some of that in Texas this offseason with Sean Miller bringing a few of his players to Xavier to Austin. Dailyn Swain is probably the most prolific of these players joining the Longhorns coming into next season. Swain has a game that is on the NBA radar. It's not an NBA draft pick yet, but someone scouts should be aware of, and the NBA draft writers out there are putting profiles together for here coming into this next season.
Swain is a two-way wing with good size. He's got defensive versatility and playmaking ability. His game fits NBA a little bit better than college, as more spacing could allow him to thrive as a defender. He's a transition scorer and connective passer. However, his lack of shooting, inconsistent offense assertiveness, and decision-making as a passer are some legitimate concerns the Longhorns may have with Swain this season.
Yeah, just a few concerns here and there overall, but Dailyn Swain is a player to definitely keep your eyes out for. And of course, he makes the portal as one of the top 10 players coming in from the transfer portal, according to, I believe we used Evan Me on this one. So, I forget exactly, but that's how we made the list. So Dailyn Swain, one of the top 10 players coming into the SEC into the next season. Last year, he had 11 points per game, 5.5 rebounds per game, 2.6 assists, and 1.6 steals per game. Got out there and shot just 25% from three, but on from the floor, 53.2% from the floor. And of course, junior season, getting into those upperclassmen ranks, and a player that Sean Miller obviously wanted to keep developing. Otherwise, he wouldn't have brought him with him on the long, long trip all the way from Cincinnati, Ohio, down here to Austin, Texas, in his first season with the Longhorns. Maddie, your thoughts on Dailyn Swain before we jump into the scouting report here?
Yeah, I think Dailyn Swain is going to be a great kind of reset player for Texas as you've got Sean Miller coming in, somebody who already knows the coach's system. But then also, when you take a look at him, he's a guy who's going to be able to play multiple spots. Thinking we're looking more at the front court this season rather than back court, but he's going to be able to jump in and has kind of those assets on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, he's a Swiss Army knife kind of player is the big thing here, and I think he's going to match well with what looks to be a pretty good returning backcourt for Texas overall. And that was one of the big rare things for Texas that we're going to talk so much in the season preview about is just how many of the players stayed with Sean Miller coming in, and then the players he brought in from Xavier. So it's a rare combination you don't see very often in the transfer portal. And I think it's going to possibly yield some good results for Texas coming in the season. But let's jump into the scouting report specifically. Talk about Mr. Swain and his ability to contribute to this Longhorn teams this season. Let's start with the strengths, Manny, and then we'll get into some of the concerns that scouts are noting here. He got good size,
Mhm.
good athleticism. He's 6'8", a lot of fluid movement, and he fits more of that modern kind of what we're seeing in the league nowadays, that NBA wing mold where it's a big body wing out there, jumbo size, with a ton of athleticism. You're just wanting to add a 3-point shot somewhere along the way to help the game out just a little bit. So those are the big pluses here. He matches that good size, good athleticism. He looks like an NBA player. NBA players look like him. That's the kind of player that we're talking about here. A lot of defensive versatility. Something to make note of here. He can guard anyone. I mean, you can probably everyone but five. Let's be real here. You got a small five possibly if you're facing a team with a 6'9" center out there, but he can guard pretty much anywhere 1 through 4, and he potentially is defending some other spots better than others. He looks to be at his best out there guarding the three, but he has that level of versatility to guard anyone 1 through 4, and if he can get, like I said, possibly a five on a smaller team this season. And then you're going to see the highlights really coming to play out here on transition. He is a strong transition player. He can push the ball himself or finish as a cutter out there in transition and then turn into Mr. Highlight Reel. Great off-ball movement overall. He's an instinctive cutter who relocates well for scoring opportunities, and he handles things well for his size. He's capable of playing in the pick and roll. He's capable of being the ball handler. He's capable of being a good decision maker. He's got different versatilities in his game, and that makes him just very difficult to deal with out there at 6'8". Hard player for a lot of teams to match up with, and that's one of the reasons he was one of the better scorers for Xavier last season.
Yeah, I think when you look at some of these strengths, they contribute well to that, like you said, Swiss Army knife type of player.
Super athlete type. Yeah, super athlete Swiss Army knife.
Definitely. But like you said, got a lot of strengths, got a lot of positives, but there are a couple of concerns Texas fans need to take a look out for and just be aware of. He does need a little bit of work in the area of scoring points and shooting. He lacks balance, confidence, and follow through on his jumper. Surely a couple of things that can be touched up when you're, in a new place, new environment, maybe able to get you out of your comfort zone a little bit and work on some of those things. He's also inconsistent in the offense. He can disappear for stretches due to a lack of aggression, which hopefully that'll change coming into the SEC because I feel like we're a little bit more aggressive than some of those other uh, groups out there.
Are you insulting the Big East right now, Maddie?
Maybe just tad. I wouldn't call it an insult. I'm just saying they're a little bit softer than how we
You
do it
get,
down here in the South.
man, I mean, just maybe some of those teams weren't very good last year. Keep going.
He's also got to be a little bit better in his decision making as a passer. He can be a little careless and overconfident, making some high risk passes, trying not those Magic Johnson passes that we got so used to back in the day, but needs to get a little bit more consistent at them. He's also limited in his usage. He has not had consistent offensive responsibilities, raising kind of the question about his potential as a primary or secondary creator.
Yeah, those are the concerns. Areas for him to grow. A lot of that has to do with what his role is well defined as. Right now, he really dominates as a great cutter, great transition player, and out there and it's like giving the ball, let him go to the hole kind of player. Getting him involved in offense and getting the shot out there where he's more than one dimensional is going to be the keys out here to really see this kid's game continue to grow. And a lot of times it just seems so often that there's a big jump that happens like from freshman to sophomore year. We saw that jump for him. You can see a lot more growth as you get more and more experience. And I think Dailyn Swain has that opportunity here to be one of those players that we see a big sophomore to junior year jump. Which is that age and maturity of playing a couple of years of college ball. Certainly a player who's got a future in front of him. But we want to see grow a little bit more here in the college game. Let's go to the questions here, Maddie, because we always write a couple of these here in these episodes of the portal. Swain is one of those players that looks like he fits the NBA game better than college. But do you think you think we'll see that significant jump we're talking about here under his belt this season?
I hope so. Like I said, you're getting a transition from Xavier to Texas. Things are going to be different. Like you said, a lot of those Texas core players stayed behind for Sean Miller coming in, which, like you said, rare. But
Very rare nowadays.
hopefully, in a new environment, gets him out of his comfort zone a little bit so he can contribute a little bit more. I mean, in this day and age, draft stock is the key. So, if he's wanting to get up there to those NBA ranks, you're gonna have to contribute a little bit more in college, unless you just want to stick to G League tryouts and working your way up the ranks. So hopefully, for his sake, he's able to make some of those corrections and be able to be a key piece to this Texas basketball team.
You definitely got just a couple. You got your coach. Your coach is joining you. He's coming with you from Xavier. You've been with this guy. Then you've also got another player who you've played with Lacine Tarot, who's going to be coming with him from Xavier as well. So that's two Xavier players coming together with their coach to a new school out here. So there's going to be some familiar, even though you're going to be wearing orange instead of blue, you're going to be in this brand new environment. There's going to still be some level of comfortability. There's still going to be some level of consistency, some things that are going to help him and be positives out there, even though he's technically a transfer. We saw that last year with Arkansas and Kentucky. Think about all these Kentucky players who came into Arkansas last year with John Calipari. Here with Texas, we're in a similar spot. Sean Miller bringing some of the players that he wants to bring with him out of Xavier and giving them an opportunity. And then Simeon Wilcher is a player that he's played against. He's gotten to know on some level, one way or the other, coming from St. John's, also out there in the Big East Conference, joining this basketball team this year. So we'll see how his level of comfort really is, but he's got pieces out here that should help him continue to where it's just not a brand new environment. Like it's going to be different, but he's still got some level of familiarity with everything. So, how important is it you to Maddie that Sean Miller has been able to bring players that worked with him at Xavier to Texas this season? How important do you think that's going to be this year?
I think that's going to be a real big piece and kind of continuity and, building chemistry with this team because, yeah, you can have a new coach teaching players that have played together before or brand new players build a system. But, that trust between these players that he's bringing and the trust, between that they're building with their new teammates, they're going to be able to convey what that coach is wanting probably a little bit better than the coach himself sometimes. Just being able to relate and kind of be on their level. So I think that's going to be really, really helpful to this Texas chemistry in those early stages of just getting used to a new program, a new system when it comes to Sean Miller.
And you just got to have something. It's not like Bucky McMillan who's bringing in one player from Samford into Texas A&M this season. These are guys who at least have played together or have played for Sean Miller, and hopefully those two couple of things just really connect and click for Texas this year. And I think that's going to be a big part of how guys like Swain and how the other transfers just really work for Texas this season and get along with the guys who have been there. Guys, if you have not already, please like and subscribe to the Hoop Southbound Show. We greatly appreciate you Texas fans for being here and all you guys who are joining us for all our content during Slam Dunk Summer Camp. We got more stuff on the way. Texas Man, we got your season preview coming up very, very soon in this first year with Sean Miller. So please like and subscribe, and we'll catch you guys in the next one.
Thanks, guys. Have a great week.